Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Hi everyone, and welcome to season number 7 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Performa Elite and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and well, flying solo for the moment. My partner in crime, Larry McLeod, he just had a power outage up in Michigan. Hopefully he'll be joining us in a little while. But we do have Lee Thompson with us here tonight in that virtual production trailer, bringing you all the best views of tonight's action. And so tonight we head to the World Center of Racing, the Brickyard, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Celebrating its 114th year as the sentimental home of American motorsport, Carl Fisher's creation does more than host 33 screaming Indy cars driving for 500 miles each May once a year. But since the turn of the century, its infield course has hosted Formula One, MotoGP, and of course, now NASCAR. And now the World Challenge is going to take to the very latest revision, this 14-turn, now 2.4 mile road course for round number 4 of the championship. And we'll take a look at that brand new track in just a moment. But want to thank you all for coming on board here. And you know, this track, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and its road course in particular, has seen some changes over the last number of years. Now 20 plus years since Formula One first came here and under the regime of Tony George, and just a couple years ago revised for NASCAR, and as they have now added the road course here, and you can see the major differences now that you still have that long straight on the front straight that brings you to the 90-degree turn number 1 there, as you can see, turns 1 and 2, but the major change is the little loop that used to be included now is just the chicane over at 5 and 6, and it's going to take you down the Holman Straight, where our drivers are going to have to get hard on the brakes for a 90-degree turn. You actually spend very little time on the banked turns here, not until you get to turns down towards turns 11 and 12, and it makes for a very challenging circuit. And one of the things, and we'll get to Kevin Ford and his track guide here in just a moment, that the track has a lot of grip. It is grooved, especially on the oval. It is grooved primarily for those Indy cars to be able to maintain that grip at 200 plus miles an hour. But you're going to find it is everywhere else, it's incredibly flat, except maybe a little dip over turn number 1. And although a lot of drivers, they can get up to speed very quickly here, finding those last couple tenths can very many times prove elusive. So let's do this. Why don't we turn things over to Kevin Ford, and as he does each and every week here on the World Challenge, or not just the World Challenge, but all of our Ricmotech series, he's going to present us with tonight's track guide.
Welcome, everyone, to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today. Well, around the road course here at Indy. Yes, 2.43 miles around this incredible course, and we're getting ready to head down the front straightaway here, so let's get things underway. As you notice, the timing tower to the right, our main grandstands to the left, but another set of grandstands here to the right as we cross the stripe, start heading towards the very heavy brake zone of turn 1, and I mean it is a heavy brake zone. Coming down in here at the start of races, it gets very busy as all these cars try to funnel through this corner here. All right, we'll come out of 1, we'll set up our entry through 2 here, and and then back to the throttle through 3. Coming out of this apex, we're going to stay track left here and set up our late apex for 4. Come right back to throttle and get ready for this very quick little chicane here of 5 and 6, one of the newer portions of the road course here at Indy. Heading down towards turn 7, we'll go underneath the walkway bridge. Of course, this is an overtaking opportunity coming down into this heavy brake zone here. Back to the left, we're going to stay track left on exit as we've got another late apex here into turn 8. And then back to the left through turn 9. And then another rotation back to the right through 10. And then heavy on the throttle as we come up out of 10. Up through the gears and through the apex of turn 11. Now this is going to bring us back out onto the oval portion of the course, but just for a few feet. We're going to come right back down through turn 12 here. We're going to stay track right, set up another late apex through 13, and then right back to throttle, wide open as we come up through 14 and back out onto this very fast, blistering speedway here at Indy. Down that front straightaway, back across the finish line. There you go. There's your track guide for the very fast and very fun Indianapolis road course. Thank you for being with us.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of the new road course here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And, Kevin didn't really talk about it all that much as he was hustling that Lamborghini Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo around Indianapolis, but there are some definitely some places here where you can get caught out, and particularly in those chicanes as you turn in from turn 7 and turn 8 to turn 9 becomes, especially turn 9 becomes very, very tight, and it's really critical because you have to be able to carry, at least carry a little bit of speed, a little momentum to get set up for turn 10, which is going to be the corner that brings you down back onto the oval. The other thing is braking into that turn 12 section, going into the last little bend before you come on back onto the front straight. It is a decreasing radius turn, but more importantly, the car is weighted up very, very oddly as you're still on a banked portion of the track there between turns 1 and IndyCar's turn 1 and turn 2. It really makes things very, very difficult. So we'll definitely want to watch that here this evening as we've got our drivers heading out on track now to start their qualifying session. This is a 15-minute qualifying session, and as we always do here in the World Challenge, we give our drivers 4 attempts, 4 flying laps in order to set their fastest time and set the grid for tonight's race, whether it be in GT3 or whether it be in GTP with our prototype cars. Now this is going to be the second round where we have expanded beyond just the BMW machines, but we also have the Cadillac prototype cars as well, much as we see Mike Weir here in the number 20 machine driving for the Wrong Stuff, and we'll keep track here. But as our drivers now are heading out on track, we'll tell you how to keep track of them on our timing pylon here in just a moment, as we'll do that once we get some times in the books. But let's just sit on board here with Mike Weir. We saw what Kevin Ford was able to do in the GT3 Huracan. Let's see what the Cadillac can do here on the opening flying lap. As he makes his way down the Holman Straight, of course named after the family that had owned Indianapolis Motor Speedway for so terribly long. Of course, the facility being sold to the captain, to Roger Penske, just a few seasons ago, back in 2019. Here's where he comes out and on to turn 12, and you can see the change in the attitude there and the track surfaces. He then has to get on the binders and bring the car in, and then you have this decreasing radius left-hand turn, which will then bring you onto the front straight. As Mike almost got to the wall, you have to be very careful there, and I know Kevin talked about it during the track guide. A lot of late apex corners here that you can definitely get caught out if you turn in too early. There, as we see Mike Weir put in a time of 1:16.93. That is good for 4th fastest right now early on in GTP. And so now that we've got some times in the books, let's take a look at how we're going to tell the GT cars apart, because we have both Pro and Am category drivers racing tonight. And as we watch on board with Blake Scott, driver of the number 367 team for Aerokinetics, the Pro drivers will have red mirrors, red number boards, red windshield banners and end plates on their wings. That's how you'll be able to tell them. And you will see, of course, GT3 Pro identified on the timing pylon on the left-hand side of your screen, whereas our Am category drivers, much like Michael Brooks, who early on in this session is our fastest driver in GT cars on track. He's one of our Am category drivers. Michael driving for the Wrong Stuff Racing, and with a fast time at the moment of a 1:25.25. But our Am category drivers, they've got the green number boards and mirrors and windshield banners and end plates on the wings, as Brooks crosses the line and improves upon his first flying lap, puts in a 1:24.97. But Iago Mores now jumps to the top of the leaderboard. And in doing so, the leaderboard in not only GT3 Pro, but all of our GT3 cars. We've got Jeff Jacobs now making a run. This is his 2nd flying lap. He's currently our 5th fastest driver in GT3 Am. He's now going to come under braking there, and you can see how the car kind of gets pitched around as he uses every last bit of pavement there, and he's probably going to find it a little difficult to get that car woed around since he's turning in from the center of the track, but he gets the car back underway and rolls out onto the front straight. Now the pit lane entrance, we didn't show you this, is actually as you're coming through that portion of the track where you come off the area between IndyCar 1 and 2 through turn what we're calling 12 and 13. The entrance to the pit lane is just to the right there. All right, so as our drivers are here out in qualifying, most of our prototype drivers now have turned in at least 3 flying laps. One driver that hasn't is Ryan Reeves here from SRT Esport, one of our first drivers to pick up the Cadillacs. He is currently sitting 8th in GTP. He is only working, however, his 2nd flying lap. He was a little bit later than the rest of our drivers out to the grid. We'll track him in a moment here. And as he comes around those corners, you'll see here and come back around the entrance of that pit lane was off to his right. And as Ryan Reeves comes across the line, can he improve upon the 8th fastest time? No, he does not. He turns in his fastest lap. Again, it was only his 2nd flying lap, a 1:17.58, but still good for 8th. Bailey Petrowski runs to the top of the leaderboard now in GTP. He was our winner 2 weeks ago at Jerez. Palakui Grant, who finished 2nd to Petrowski, is currently your 2nd fastest driver here, as both of those racers have completed their allotted 4 laps. The time that our drivers are looking to beat in GTP now, 1:14.26. Grant was 3/4 of a second off that. It looks like Ben Rose has retired back to the pits after only completing 3 flying laps. Fernando Takahashi, and it looks like we've got some fans of Fernando here in the chat tonight. He is currently your 4th fastest driver, and he also completed his 4 flying laps. So that is as far as he is going to go. Kyle Strikers in his Cadillac, currently about 2/3 of the way now, I think, through his final lap. Strikers also from SRT Esport, and we see him coming out, coming actually here through the final corners and on to, well, actually that was out of the chicane at turn 10, and he's now coming into turn 12. on what will be his last flying lap. He's currently 6th in class, looking to improve upon a 1:16.52. And he had to make up almost 9/10 of a second to leapfrog Mike Weir and move to the inside of row number 3. Doesn't look like he's going to do it. Let's take a look at some of our GT drivers who are just about to finish up their last flying laps. There's Leo Dragata from Dragon Sport Racing. He just recently moved over to the Porsche 911 Cup car. I believe he had been running the Mercedes. He and his brother, or as he likes to refer to him as his teammate, Lucas, they had moved over to the Porsches when they were released just a couple weeks ago. Now we're on board with Chuck Labano. Labano currently running 8th in the AM category in his BMW M4 GT3, representing Frito Sport Racing this season. Last season, we would call him a privateer, but he is going to call off his. Actually, that was his cooldown lap. He had already run his 4 laps. Yeah, and as I'm looking down through the order here, and Mike Dam might be our sole remaining driver. He is in the Audi R8 LMS, representing Orion Racing. He's currently your 3rd fastest driver in GT3 Pro. He's got Robert Hartley and Iago Mores in Pro that have set faster times, and this is Mike Dam's 4th and final attempt to jump to the top of the leaderboard in GT3 Pro. And we'll watch as he comes across the line, and we'll have a couple of minutes. We actually have a guest waiting for us that we'll bring in just a moment. Let's see if Mike Dam completes this lap, and if he can find his way onto the front row in Pro. As he comes onto the front straight, down the front straight and across the yard of bricks here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Mike Dam eclipses his teammate Robert Hartley. He puts in a lap time of a 1:24.94, and that is 67 thousandths of a second off of Iago Mores' time. And so Mike Dam will move himself to the front row. He's going to then have right behind him, he's going to have his teammate Robert Hartley actually gridded up directly behind. All right, let's do this. We've got a guest that's waiting for us. This is Aaron Beaver. Aaron is driver of the number 97 Aerokinetics GT3 AM Audi R8 LMS. That's a big breathful there. Aaron, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Very, very good. Glad to have you aboard here. As one, of course, is part of the World Challenge, and glad to have you here in the booth with us here tonight. Tell us a little bit about how you approach a track like Indianapolis versus, say, a Jerez or one of the other tracks that we've been to so far this season.
This one is new to me, so I probably can't really answer that question. I haven't driven this track very much, so I really don't. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm usually up a little higher in the qualifying, but this track, I just haven't had the experience yet. So I'm just going to try to make it around and
keep the Audi underneath you and work your way up. But Aaron qualified 10th in AM in the number 97 machine. And a little bit further back than that when you take all the pros and the AMs together. So currently you're running 6th in the championship, and obviously this is your first season with us here in the World Challenge. What drew you to the series?
I just heard some good things about it from some other people, so I thought give it a shot and see how it goes. Especially when they have live stewarding, that's seems to always be a plus and makes me more interested. Even if it is against me, it's still usually people behave a little better,
sure,
and stuff. And I've seen that. I've seen people give back positions, when they do something that they messed up, they know they shouldn't have. They give back the position, which is really cool. So yeah, it seems like a lot of people are on the same page, in this league.
Excellent. And yeah, I mean, both Larry McLeod and I have been calling this league for a number of years, and that's exactly what we see. And a lot of camaraderie amongst the racers, and some very, obviously I think some very good racecraft, but also these drivers definitely I think come in with the right attitude, and they know what's on the line, what isn't on the line, and it makes for a very good race over an extended period, like 75 minutes. So given that this is not a track that you have raced at before, and it is kind of new to you, and given where you're starting off in the grid, what's kind of your strategy going into the evening as far to how you plan to make up positions?
Mostly I'm just going to try to take care of the tires. Hopefully maybe I can do it better than some, and maybe that'll be a plus. Or maybe some people have some issues of getting in the grass or whatnot, and maybe if I can just keep it underneath me, I hope that I can gain some that way.
Understood. So now, of course, you have a couple of your other Aerokinetics teammates out here running with you this evening. Any kind of assistance that you've been able to how does the Aerokinetics team work together when they come to a new layout, a new facility like the new IMS road course?
Yeah, most tracks are, they've helped me, especially in other leagues that these two other drivers have been with me. We talked about setups and stuff, but they are also pretty new to this one. So we're kind of all in the same boat.
You're all a little bit on the back foot.
Yep.
All right. Well, tell you what, here, Aaron, let me not keep you because qualifying has ended and it looks like the drivers are all gridding up and ready to go. I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you a little bit later tonight when we interview our podium finishers.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate everything you guys do.
All right, thanks so much. That is Aaron Beaver, driver of the number 97 Aerokinetics GT3 AM Audi R8, and he'll be starting 10th tonight in AM. All right, so looks like we've got our drivers starting to head to the grid. Let's run down the starting order. On pole in GTP is Bailey Petrowski, driver of the number 15 machine. Bailey is running for Petro West Racing in the BMW. Palakui Grant for D2D E-Racing will start right next to him on the outside of the front row. Ben Rose will start third in the Cadillac with Fernando Takahashi starting in fourth. Then we've got Mike Weir fifth for the Wrong Stuff. Ryan Reeves from SRT will start in sixth with Kyle Strikers also from SRT starting in seventh. Ryan Reisman for DTM Motorsports will start eighth with Curlin Andrews starting in ninth. Bill Mulfield rounding out the top 10 and rounding out the GTP field. Now let's take a look and our GT drivers. They're going to be mixed in pro and AM, but we'll go in and break it down by class here, just so you know that we do have some of our pro drivers maybe a little bit back further in the field. Iago Mores is your pole sitter with a qualifying time at 124.876. Mike Dam will start to his left as they come down to make the run in the turn one for the first time. Robert Hartley will start third in pro with Blake Scott starting fourth. Then we've got Leo Dragata from Dragon Sport. He'll start fifth with Brian Long sixth for the Wrong Stuff. Travis Schwenke and Steve Daniel will make up your seventh and eighth position starters in GTP Pro with Mark Scott. We'll have to see if Mark makes the field. He was actually one of Aaron's Aerokinetics teammates. He did not, I don't believe, set a time in qualifying, and he would be starting from the very rear of the field. All right, let's take a look at GT3 AM, where Michael Brooks from the Wrong Stuff is your fastest driver. He is driving one of the Porsche 911 Cup cars with Dre Divock, also in a Porsche 911, starting second. Then we've got Jeff Jacobs. Jeff driving the number 38 machine. That is I believe, and I have to double check, I believe that is one of the Lamborghinis that Jeff is driving here this evening, with Baron Glover running, starting in 6th. Then we've got Chad Osborne and Chuck Labano. They're going to be 7th and 8th in AM, with Riotek and Aaron Beaver, who we just spoke to. Dale Maxwell will be starting in 11th, with John Casey starting 12th. Then we've got Greg Brockway and Robert Briss. They're going to start 13th and 14th in GT3 AM. All right, so we've got the drivers out on their pace lap right now. Didn't get a chance to go over it during qualifying, but currently in GT3 AM, Michael Brooks is your points leader, with Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff second, and Ken Ladd third, and currently only 5 points separate them in the championship. And as the pace car going awfully quickly with those prototype cars right now. GT3 Pro, currently Mike Dam, your points leader, with Chris Thorman and Travis Schwenke, 10 points separating our top 3. And then finally in GTP, it's Palakui Grant and Bailey Petrowski tied for the championship at 74 points. Ben Rose 9 points back from there. So a lot on the line here tonight in the World Challenges. We're about to get underway with round number 4 here at the Speedway. And so as our prototypes now still behind the safety car, the pace cars, they come into turn number 12. When the field is released to Bailey Petrowski, he will be able to start accelerating as they just as they come out back onto the main track, onto the oval, but we do have a live starter that will give the start command to our drivers. From there, they're not allowed to pass until they get to the start finish line, and now they are underway. They can start accelerating as we wait for the starter's command. Very well formed grid, and there you go. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing at Indianapolis. And one of the big challenges here in the prototypes or the GT cars, of course, that front straight incredibly wide, but it tightens up quite a bit as they go under braking down into turn 1, as we now have Palakui Grant from the outside on the cold tires jumping to an early lead, and we can see that Petrowski had a little bit of challenge going into turn 2 as our GT cars now get the green flag, and we have Yago Mores to the inside in that Porsche. He is your leader. Directly behind and to the left of him is Mike Dam, as everybody starts to again tighten down and flow through. We did have Jackson Dittmer try to take a run down the inside, and that has paid some dividends. He's now moved up to 3rd and now 2nd in AM in that number 77 BMW, as we see him right there. But the GT3 car is now getting all lined up as the prototypes are coming down into the final corners here to complete their very first lap. Palakui Grant early on here with about a 10-car length advantage, as again our prototype drivers, I think, really we can see those cars still kind of hunting around for grip, looking to get those tires heated up and get back underway. And we're watching right now, and this is another great start. Speaking of aerokinetics, Blake Scott, driver of the number 367 machine, he has made up 4 positions on the field, and he's now moved into 2nd overall or 2nd in GT, having gotten around our championship leader Mike Dam there. And again, very early days here. Yago Mores about 0.8 of a second up the road. But Dam taking a look to the inside. He's a little far back. Another driver taking a look in right behind Chad Osborne. I believe that's Jeff Jake. No, just ahead of Jacobs. I'm sorry. That was Brian Long in the BMW that was taking a look to the inside on Travis Schwenke. And we've got a driver off. That is Ryan Reeves, driver of the number 23 Cadillac. And he started off in 6th position here in GTP. He's now going to fall to the back of the field. And we'll see if we can, maybe a little bit later, if we can pull up and see exactly what happened to him, as we're now watching a little bit further back in the field. This is the battle This is the battle right now, I believe, for this is judging the cars here. We're looking at Leo Dragato. He's got Jackson Detmer directly ahead, Travis Schwenke directly behind. Right now, Dragato running 5th in pro, Schwenke running 6th in the Audi R8, and just ahead of Dragato, we've got in the BMW there, that multicolored BMW, Jackson Detmer in the 77 machine. As we're very early on here in a 75-minute run to the checkered flag, round 4 of the World Challenge, and these drivers, I think, early on looking to jockey for position. All right, let's take a look here. Is Fernando Takahashi, driver of the number 79 BMW, you can see there for WJM Motorsport, just had a little bit of a wild ride. Looked like coming to the end of the Holman Straight. I think we might have a replay of that. If we do, take a look. As he comes down under braking at the end of the Holman Straight, and looks like he just you can see the brake lock up there, just did not get his braking done in time, and again, maybe cold tires, and went to the grass. Now, a little bit earlier, we saw Ryan Reeves bring the car around as he came through the chicane here. Let's take a look. Yeah, as he was coming through turn 10, he ran just a little wide, could not get the nose pointed in until it was too late. And that is actually one of the more challenging corners I find here at Indianapolis. You'll see a lot of the drivers, at least in the GT cars, there is a piece of concrete right at the apex of that final corner in the chicane over at turn 10, and you really want to use that concrete to try and open up the corner. Otherwise, it does become very difficult to get the car rotated. As we're on board now with Russ Ruddick, driving 10th in AM. And he's got directly ahead of him Aaron Beaver, who we spoke about just a few moments ago. Beaver and Ruddick swap positions on lap number 2. You see there Ruddick picking up a lot of ground under braking as things were compressing down just ahead of him. And we've got a driver off in the gravel. Oh, and this is a big surprise. This is Mike Dam, who started on the front row in GT cars, fell back into 3rd initially, and he is now sitting 8th in pro, about looks to be about 17th of all of our GT cars, and he's going to have a long road to get back towards the front of the field. A lot of primarily AM cars ahead of him. He's got Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing 2 cars up ahead of him in the BMW, but he's got a long way to go. As we see our GT cars, they're already starting to make their way through the back of our GT field. Looks like they were just coming up on the number 51 of BMW of Robert Brist. This is a great little battle right now. Mike Weir in the number 20 machine, and then we've got directly behind, this is Ben Rose in the Cadillac. So 2 Cadillacs here battling it out for 3rd position, as we've got the 2 BMWs of Grant and Petrowski have started to open up a bit of an advantage over these 2 racers, currently at about 4.5 seconds. A little bit further back in GTP, Ryan Reisman in the 414 machine, and Kyle Strikers in the white number 17 just ahead. Another 2 of our Cadillacs, and we've had a number of drivers move to the Cadillac chassis from the BMWs. You know, I guess when given the choice, you know, get to experiment a little bit. And so just before our round 3 of the World Challenge, iRacing had introduced the Cadillac, had introduced a new version of the Porsche GT3 Cup Car chassis, and our drivers were given the opportunity to make changes without losing any points in the championship. Under normal circumstances, they would lose all of the points that they had gained if they decided to make a move from one chassis to another mid-season. But with those new cars coming on board, they were able to make the change essentially for free. And looks like so far, we didn't have any of the Cadillacs up at the top of the leaderboard. Actually, Ben Rose in the Cadillac in the V Series R did finish third at Jerez. So and that's exactly where he stands right now. And it looks, as we were following that battle online, it looks like Mike Weir, especially as they're dealing with traffic, has just lost a couple of spots. He's had Fernando Takahashi, who had that earlier spin, move into fourth. And again, the challenge here at Indy, until you get onto these straightaways, many of these turns very, very tight. It's difficult here as you come through this turn 7, 8, 9, and 10 complex with the prototype cars, because it is so narrow through this infield, to sneak the cars underneath. And you can see there as they come out of turn 10 and they work their way back out onto the oval, it gets much wider. So let's take a look. Got a replay lined up here. Exactly what happened to Mike Weir. Oh, I thought we did. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had a replay. Sorry about that, everybody. And Weir now has Kyle Strikers in the white Cadillac directly behind him, as they are all trying to make their way down through this very crowded GT field. And again, and you can see the huge change in how wide this track surface is. And over here by 3, and wow, look at that, as Strikers tried to come down the inside, go underneath one of the wrong stuff Porsches, and had to just stand on the binders to keep going into the back of that Porsche, and that's allowed Mike Weir in the 20 to get back around and really open up a nice little gap there, as we now move over and take a look at Bill Mulfield and Ryan Reisman. It's Mulfield and Reisman, as they are coming up now behind one of our GT3 machines, coming up behind Jeff Jacobs, and putting Jacobs a lap down. Now, in practice during the week, we did see that the GTP cars, the prototype cars, were running about 10 seconds per lap faster than the GTs. So pretty wide margin there. And again, it becomes a challenge as we have all of this traffic, as we do have currently, I believe, let me double check here, 32 drivers that took the green flag. And as I suspected, Mark Scott, driver of the number 69 BMW, did not make the field. There was a thought that he might start from the pit lane. He did not. We're on board now with Baron Glover. We've had Baron on the show and had him on some pre-race interviews. He's currently running 7th in Pro, and directly behind him is Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing, and that would be a battle for position. Actually, I'm sorry that it's not Steve Daniel, is one of our Pro Class drivers. Glover currently in AM, but ahead, and about a second and a half ahead of Glover, is Chad Osborne in the BMW. That would be for position. See here with these GT cars still in a lot of machines still battling it out for position, as Mike Dam is trying to still work his way through the field, just gets past Steve Daniel, but not by much, maybe a nose, and is on the brakes just that much later in the Audi. So Dam now takes over 7th position from Steve Daniel, but he's still 12 positions to the negative. He's got on track. He's got a long way to go. As a matter of fact, the next pro driver that he has his sights on is, let's see, 5 cars up ahead, Brian Long. So he's got a long way to go. As we're watching now, Blake Scott in that 367 BMW. He's got one of the prototype cars coming underneath him again as they came out of turn number 10. And directly behind Scott, he's got Jackson Detmer. Detmer running in the BMW as well. And then back from Detmer is Travis Schwenke in the Audi. And, you know, the Audis were very strong at the opening round of the season at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, and they were quite strong at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, but they seemed to show a couple kinks in the armor at Jerez and maybe here as well at the Speedway. You know, notwithstanding, you know, we had Dam and we had Hartley qualify 2nd and 3rd in pro, but and at the moment, Robert Hartley, he's hanging on. I mean, he's still sitting 3rd in GT3, but he's got Michael Brooks, our AM category leader, ahead of him. But Schwenke and both Schwenke and Dam just haven't had the pace here, including since Dam has gotten back underway. Nice little scrap here. Chad Osborne in the number 24 BMW, directly behind that black BMW, directly behind Baron Glover in the Porsche 911. The red, black, pink, and I guess actually in the wrong stuff colors, the pink and Dayglow green, and then directly behind is Mike Dam in the Audi. All right, let's jump back. This is the battle for the overall lead. Palakui Grant, who jumped out to an early lead, got around our pole sitter, Bailey Petrowski, running right around the outside of Petrowski into turn 1 for the very first time. And Petrowski has not been able to make up the ground. He hasn't lost much, however. He's just a touch under a second, about 6 car lengths back from Palakui Grant, the D2D E-Racer. Here, and we'll see how things play out. We expect that the GTP cars, they can likely go somewhere around 42 laps or thereabouts before they would require a pit stop and require fuel. We suspect that the race will be about 60 laps for them, so that pit window going to be anywhere between laps 18 and 42, and we're only now 12 laps complete in the book, so we've got a little bit of time here. Again, Petrowski, the winner in the last round at Jerez, and he currently has 1 win, as does Palakui Grant, and our 3rd winner was Andres Espinosa. Espinosa not racing with us here this evening. And it looks like some of the hectic driving and tight racing that we saw earlier, the large packs, we're starting to see them stretch out maybe just a little bit, at least in GT. We're still seeing some of these pairings. We've got the 2 BMWs. We've got Blake Scott and Jackson Detmer, and wow, it looks like just as we were watching that move, Blake Scott goes wide, and looks like he is now back underway. But No, actually, yeah, actually, it looks like Blake Scott. We may have lost him. As I think he may have dropped out of the session. We'll have to take a look here and see if we pick him back up. But here's Mike Dam in the Audi R8. He gets around now Chad Osborne. Dam running 6th in Pro, Osborne 6th in AM, and we're starting to see our GTP leaders. They're coming through right behind this battle. Luckily for them, they had a little bit of clearance. Just Mike Dam there as they get by him. Tried to use the draft of Mike Dam's Audi as long as they could, and then come back onto the line. Driver's left going down into turn 1. Neat little dance to watch the drivers as they do that, as they try to eke every last millimeter they can and get as much speed as they can off of these GT cars directly ahead of them. As Petrowski now, he's closed things up quite a bit. He was about 6 car lengths behind, and now there he is. He blinked out for just a moment, but he is back now with just about 2 car lengths separating he and Paulie Grant. Grant, I think, trying to go around the outside of, trying to determine which car. I think that might have been Yago Mores, our GT leader, that he just put a lap down. Yeah, Mores there in the wrong stuff Porsche. Of course, last season we saw Mores driving the Lamborghini, so big change in chassis for him. As we watch now a little bit further back, Lucas Stragata from Dragon Sport Racing, there in the yellow and blue number 119 machine, the Dragon Sport machine. And he's got a nice little scrap going on with Dre Divock directly ahead. And so, as I mentioned, this racetrack, it is, and you can see this here, it is very flat. So, you know, obviously the ways to carry as much speed through the corners, you want to perhaps late apex them. You want to open up the corners as much as possible, and you want to make sure that you've got a stable platform to brake on, and that means going into turn 12, typically having your car maybe a quarter of a car width off of the wall. As we're back on board here, watching Fernando Takahashi. He's got Kyle Strikers directly behind him in the Cadillac, and Strikers now going to move over driver's right. He and Takahashi going side by side, heading down in the 1. Takahashi for a moment had the advantage, but he saw that GT Porsche to driver's left, and I don't think he wanted to be part of the sandwich. And Kyle Strikers now moves ahead. Strikers started off in 7th this evening in GTP. He now works his way up into 4th. And that is Chad Osborne in the number 24 machine. He is off, and he is, well, he's kind of looking the wrong way as he now gets things back underway. This is coming out of turn, and and we had Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing as well. That was coming out of turn 4, going into the chicane. I'm wondering if Lee, perhaps we can see what happened there. Yeah, let's take a look here as they come through. Comes out of turns 2, heading up somewhat of a light brake going into turn number 4. But if you stay on the brakes a little bit too long, maybe trail brake a little too long, you go around, and it looks like Steve Daniel there just trying to avoid Chad Osborne as he put the machine around there. But luckily, no contact as best I can tell, and those drivers back underway. as Strikers and Takahashi pick up right where we left off with them. And Takahashi, he's going to try and come underneath that GT car. I don't know if the GT car knew he was there until the last second. And yeah, we can see now the GT car, as he was sawing at the wheel, try to recover there. He almost had a moment as Takahashi came underneath. That's the second time we've seen one of the GT cars, or two of the GT cars, two of the GTP cars try to split a GT car going there into turn 3. And unfortunately, because of the way the cars are loaded up, coming through that sweeping turn 3 into turn 4, it's very difficult to see one of those GTP cars coming down the inside. As we go back on board with Mike Dam, he's still sitting 6th in AM, or probably 6th in Pro, but he's made his way around most of those AM category drivers. He's got Jeff Jacobs, who's one of our AM category drivers, though, directly behind him. And next in line, and he's only about 2 seconds up, is Brian Long in his BMW. And there he is, the number 76 machine, that pink and black car. And Mike Dam trying to get a draft off of our GTP cars as they come down into turn 1. But the last time around, Mike Dam was almost 0.7 of a second faster than the number 76 machine. And you can see he's kind of coming. Oh, and here we go. This is the battle for the lead. Takahashi, Palakui Grant, and Bailey, probably not Takahashi, but Bailey Petrowski and Palakui Grant. And our pole sitter tonight, Bailey Petrowski, he retakes the lead from Palakui Grant to start lap number 19 here in the 75-minute run to the checkered flag. So let's take a look and see, other than maybe just a carrying of a lot of speed through the final corner, what Takahashi did, or probably what Petrowski did to take the lead there. And you can see that coming out of turn 12, coming off the oval, the machine of Grant, the number 71 machine, he ran a little deep under braking. He had the car all the way driver's right, and Petrowski was able to square things off and just work around him in a place where you typically don't see a lot of passes over by turn 13. But now they are side by actually, I'm sorry, this is going back to Takahashi, and this is Takahashi and Strikers once again, the 79 and the 17. This is the battle for 4th, and what a fight it has been as they're side by side as they came all the way through the chicane over at 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then on the oval, coming through turn 12. And you can see there with that decreasing radius turn, a little bit of brake lock up from Strikers, I think, to give Takahashi a chance to get through that corner, that decreasing radius corner. And as they come onto the front straight, Fernando Takahashi now, he's got the advantage over Kyle Strikers. That was a great little fight there, 2 by 2 for almost a half a lap, and we just haven't seen that kind of close racing here all night long. As now 3 cars in a row as they fan out. This is Travis Schwenke in the Audi to the inside. It is Jackson Detmer in the BMW, who's late on the brakes and runs deep into turn 1, and then it is the Porsche there of Leo Dragata, and Dragata now manages to get around the BMW of Detmer, as Detmer just besides running very deep, as he finally got the car rotated and made the run down towards turn 2. He had the car so far driver's left, it was very difficult to get the rear of that car back underneath them and get the power down as they come to the end of the Holman Straight and into the chicane. right, we're going to jump a little bit further back. And here is that big fight that we've got. We've got Lucas Dragata, our lead driver in this pack, in the 119 Porsche. We then have Brian Long in the 76 BMW, and then we were just watching a little while ago as Mike Dam was trying to move up and get up to Long, because that is a battle for position. But instead, Mike Dam is going to bring his Orion Racing Audi R8 down the pit lane. He is going to be one of our very first drivers to take to the pit lane and get fuel. Our first driver tonight to do that, Bill Mulfield, in his BMW, and that is a BMW GTP car. He is on his way down the pit lane. He's going to be rejoining the field here from just inside turn 1 momentarily. And a very long pit lane here, very long transit time. I think the transit time to Mulfield's was almost 50 seconds. As we're back on board with Mike Weir and Ryan Reeves. And again, I want to thank Reeves, driver the number 23, which actually was one of Reeves' teammates here who sat in with us a little bit earlier. But this right now is the battle for 7th in GTP. And now coming down the pit lane as well, Iago Moraes, who pitted in from the lead in GTP Pro. Jackson Detmer in the 77 machine as well. And Greg Brockway in the number 62 Ferrari has come down the pit lane as well. Actually, I take that back. That was not Greg Brockway. It was Dale Maxwell in the Audi that came down the pit lane there. But there's a good shot of Greg, one of our Frito Sport racers. And Greg currently running 10th in AM. And here is a fight that we're watching right now. And this is for position, I believe, as we're on watching Russ Ruddick in the number 95 machine, and just behind him, also in one of our BMWs, Chuck Labano. This is the battle for 7th in GTP AM. There's Labano driving the number 34 machine, and we've got again in that very difficult place to turn, coming off the oval into turn 12. One of our prototype cars that is now hitting the pit lane once again, and that is Fernando Takahashi. So we're starting to see the pit cycles here start. And now Palakui Grant. Look at this, we've got a new second place runner in GTP, and it's Ben Rose, driver of the number 5 machine, who jumps ahead of Palakui Grant, as Grant appeared to have some issues. Yeah. All right, let's take a look and see what happened here. We've got Rose drafting off of Grant, going down into turn 1. Now we know Grant had run deep under braking for Petrowski to take the lead a couple laps ago at turn 12, and he just opened the door up for Ben Rose. And I think as he saw Rose come underneath him, he just had to kind of wait to turn in, and so we've got a new second place runner. It's Palakui Grant. Yeah, the question, of course, and we haven't been able to pick it up, is they somehow, Grant had gone from being just a couple car lengths behind Bailey Petrowski to almost 10 seconds in arrears. And they've been running very similar lap times, so I'm not exactly sure where it came from. As we now have Fernando Takahashi, he has finished his service, and he is going to rejoin the field here at ninth in GTP. But let's do this. We're sitting right at about the top of the hour. And I know with my luck, Petrowski, Grant, and Rose are all going to come down the pit lane. But let's take a little break. Let's thank our partners and sponsors that are bringing you all the action here tonight on Apex Racing TV and the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by Performa Elite and Buttkicker. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by Performa Elite and Buttkicker. I'm Greg Ginsburg here on Apex Racing TV. And as we get back to the action here, we had just seen as we'd gone the break, Paulo Grant and Ben Rose jockeying for second place in GTP. And I was pondering, how did Paulo Grant end up so far back from our new leader, Bailey Petrowski? Well, I probably was pondering the wrong thing, because almost immediately as we went to break, we had the flash up on the screen a note from our stewards that they were investigating an incident between Ben Rose, driver of the number 5 Cadillac, and the driver of the number 16 Audi, and that is Travis Schwenke, who is currently running second in GTP Pro. And just like that, Paulo Grant was back in the second place, and Ben Rose was almost 10 seconds in arrears, and that's where we stand right now. So as soon as I get a word on where things stand with the stewards, we'll definitely let you know. But while this battle is going on, and we are now just about exactly halfway. All right, tell you what, I think we might actually have queued up exactly what happened here with Rose and Travis Schwenke. Oh, and that was going into turn number 3, or actually going into turn number 4, as Rose tried to go around the outside of the Audi. I don't know if the Audi knew he was there, and then they come down to that chicane. But that definitely an issue, and as soon as we hear if they assign any responsibility for that, we'll let you know. But in the meantime, wanted to once again welcome back to the series for their 2nd season in a row, Buttkicker, who is going to be, at the end of the season, giving away to one lucky driver a Buttkicker Gamer Plus package valued at $279.95, and we want to send them a big shout out, a big thank you for providing such a wonderful prize this season. If you want to turn up the immersion in your sim rig, visit thebuttkicker.com for further details. Thanks so much to Buttkicker. All right. So as we're watching now a little bit further back the field, that's with some of the action that's been going on. Leo Dragata now is, we've had a couple of our racers head to the pits. Leo Dragata now moves up into 2nd in GTP Pro, as Travis Schwenke brought his car down the pit lane for service. He has already taken his fuel and he is back underway. I would expect that the majority of these racers probably not taking tires during these pit stop cycles, but the GTP driver stopping just about halfway through the race. I mentioned before that probably the GT3 driver, I mentioned before that the GTP pit window was probably going to be between laps 18 and 42, and for the GT3 cars, most likely between laps 19 and 34. And Travis Schwenke was working lap number 27. And there's John Casey, currently sitting 8th in Pro. He has made up a number of positions since the start of this race, but I think some of that has to do with the pit cycles beginning, and he has not gone into the pits yet. Going into the pits, we've got both Jeff Jacobs, who is pitting in from, I believe, 4th in AM. Also, Aaron Beaver in his Audi, who was pitting in from 5th, and we can see them. There's Beaver heading down the pit lane now. Now 2 of our Orion teammates. That's Travis Schwenke in the 16. It's Mike Dam in the number 3. They have both taken their fuel, and they should be good to go till the end of the race, and they're now hooked up and working together. They've got a little bit of distance to go to get up to Iago Mores, who has also taken his pit stop, and you can see there on our timing tower. There is a bit of a gap right now from Mores back to Schwenke. But not that far, only a couple seconds, as we now have Kyle Strikers and Ryan Reisman coming down the pit lane. Strikers in the white Cadillac, Reisman in the blue Cadillac, and a number of other drivers that we also have there still sitting on the pit lane, I think trying to get some damage repaired. Bill Mulfield in his GTP BMW. As we... All right, and we just got word back from race control that incident that we had between the GTP number 5 of Ben Rose and the 16 GT3 Pro car, Travis Schwenke, over by turn 4 a couple laps ago. No action taken. So let's say no harm. Not that much harm. Not so much of a foul as they're trying to work their way up. So. Actually, it is now about, I think, somewhere along the lines of 12 seconds between Iago Mores and Schwenke and Dam. So they've got a little while to go there to get up. And there's Iago Mores, we can see now, coming through turns 2, heading into 3 and 4, just as Schwenke and Dam were on the front straight. So they've got a big challenge ahead of them if they're going to battle for the lead here. Of course, before the pit cycles begin, Yago Mori's your leader. Michael Brooks now, he was your GT3 AM category leader for the right stuff and or the wrong stuff. Oh my gosh, for the wrong stuff, and he is now on the pit lane, as is Leo Dragata, who is going to pit in now from second in pro. That is going to leave Robert Hartley, the last of the Orion racers, still out on track. He is your pro leader. He started third in pro tonight. He's now leading. Brian Long, who has rejoined the action, or Brian Long hasn't rejoined the action. He hasn't taken a pit stop yet. He is currently your second place racer in GT3 Pro, about 12 seconds behind Hartley. All right, Michael Brooks has now completed his pit stop and is heading down that long pit lane. He's going to make the quick right here and rejoin the action just as cars are coming through turn one. It's one of the most difficult rejoins I think we're going to see here in the World Challenge this season. But he gets back underway. He is currently fifth in AM. But the four drivers ahead of him, Lucas Dragata, Dre Divock, Baron Glover, and Chuck Labano, they have not taken their pit stops yet. There we go. Robert Hartley now comes in from the lead in GT3 Pro. And, you know, I think maybe one of the things to look for here is when he comes out, does he come out with and rejoin with his two teammates, Schwenke and Dam? I think he was far enough ahead that probably will not be the issue. As a matter of fact, you can see here now coming onto the oval over by turn 12. There's Travis Schwenke, and Schwenke with quite a bit more pace tonight than Mike Dam. You can see Dam having fallen back a little bit further from the number 16 machine that last time. Well, last lap about 2/10 to the good for Travis Schwenke. Those two racers have run their fastest lap of the night, almost identical lap times, as Schwenke's run a 25.78, Dam a 25.77. And you know what? Maybe I was right. Here comes Robert Hartley now. He just gets past the control line. He can get back on the throttle, and he comes out right with his two Orion Racing teammates, almost like clockwork, I would say, as Hartley now back behind Mike Dam. They are currently running third, fourth, and fifth in pro. Yago Mores now is about 12 seconds, 13 seconds ahead of the Orion Racers at this point. And then Brian Long, who is currently your leader in pro, he has not come down the pit lane to take fuel as of yet. And we suspect that, again, with the pit window being likely about 34 laps for our GT3 cars, probably need to do it in 2 to 3 laps or so. All right, let's take a look here. Palakui Grant, who had been running in second in GTP, and he is now fallen all the way back into 8th position, and he is on the pit lane. And and he was coming to the pits, it looked like, and carried so much speed, went right into the wall, and he then takes what would be a very short tow onto the pit lane, and I think he's going to be there for a while. That was very strange. He was carrying far more speed than he would have likely needed. As now Bailey Petrowski, he is pitting in from the lead. And Petrowski looking for his second win in a row in GTP, as he is the last of our GTP drivers to pit in. Again, we thought that the GTP cars, their pit window would probably end around lap 42, so he's still coming in fairly early, about 6 laps before we anticipated that he would likely run low on fuel. As we're watching right now, Mike Dam, who has gotten around Travis Schwenke, and that will elevate him to third in GTP. There's still about 14 seconds in arrears, and then it's John Casey and Robert Hartley. As Hartley has now gotten around John Casey, and we have one of our GTP machines, and I think that is Ben Rose trying to find a way around the 3 Ryan Racing teammates. He's going to wait, of course, till he gets onto the front straight. Then he's going to use the draft every last bit that he can. He's going to move and just kind of shuffle in, shuffle out, and use the speed that they've got to get down the straight a little bit faster and outbreak them all into turn 1. Chuck Labano now, not having taken a pit stop yet, he is currently sitting third in AM. He's got Baron Glover and Dre Divock ahead. Neither of those drivers have taken their pit stop as of yet. We'll see who the first one is to blink, but at the moment, Labano about 5 seconds behind Baron Glover. All right, there you go. Our leader and last driver to come into the pits in GT3 Pro, Brian Long, comes down the pit lane. We'll have to watch and see where Iago Moraes is, as Moraes now, I believe, is he's now worked his way around Divock and Glover as well. Those two drivers in the pits along with Long. And there's Chuck Labano, who has not yet come into the pits. He is your new, not only GT3 AM leader, but he's your new GT3 leader as well. Michael Brooks comes back out in second position, likely when Labano heads to the pits to take fuel. That will move Michael Brooks back to the lead. And, well, we don't even have to wait that long, as Michael Brooks now has shot around the driver of the number 34. And Dre Divock now has rejoined the field in 5th. Baron Glover rejoins in 6th. And now we watch Lucas Dragata. Lucas in the 119 machine, one of our Dragon Sport racers. This is a battle for position directly ahead of him. He's got Aaron Beaver. We talked to Aaron a little bit earlier in the Aerokinetics Audi. And directly ahead of them is, again, Baron Glover. Is Dragata there trying to make up some ground. And they're going to come down into turn number 7, side by side at the end of the Holman Straight. And there you go. Looks like Beaver, for the moment, has been able to hold off the Porsche of Dragata. And Chuck Labano now comes down the pit lane. So he's going to be the last of our, I believe, the last of our racers to come down the pit lane and take service, with one exception, and that is the I think the 367 of Scott, but Blake Scott, but I think Scott has already checked out of the session. Indeed, he only turned 11 laps this evening. All right, Chuck Labano back underway. Past the control line, he's going to start to accelerate, but it is a very tight right-hander here that you have to watch and have to blend in with drivers that come through turn number 1. But it looks like he doesn't have to worry about that here this evening, as Aaron Beaver is and he's got one of the GT cars directly behind him, but he is looking to make ground up now again on the 119 of Dragata. Just going to follow Beaver here through the chicane. Back onto the oval, where it gets so wide, and then there's this transition. You can see how the car just kind of leans over, and oh, he's going to have to hold on. That is the 20 machine coming right underneath him. That's Mike Weir running 7th in GTP. As he got past Beaver, he's going to work his way past Dragata now as well. And Dragata is going to try and use the draft and get a little bit of a toe down the straight and try to separate out from Beaver behind. Once again, we've got our 3 Orion racers there in order. They are now running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and again, a pretty substantial margin between Mike Dam and Iago Mores, our AM category, or probably our pro category leader, currently sitting at just about 15 seconds. Matter of fact, Mores not even in this shot. But you know, for the moment, 2 of those 3 racers from Orion, they're aiming for a podium position. And our GT leader, whether it be AM, whether it be pro, it's Michael Brooks from the Wrong Stuff, driver the number 83, and he is well on his way. Now, as we've got just a touch under 20 minutes remaining here at Indianapolis, the 75-minute sprint race. I want to remind everybody that in just 2 weeks, we will be heading to Spa-Francorchamps, to the Ardennes Forest of Belgium, for our next run in the World Series. And that is going to be another 75-minute fight for our GT3 and GTP racers in a track that I think is very well suited to them. And I'll tell you, I can't wait to see some of these GTP cars go through Eau Rouge. It's going to be wild. All right, now on board, Chad Osborne, driver of the number 24 machine. He's got Russ Ruddick directly ahead, the 2 BMWs. This is the battle for 9th in GT3 AM. Wow, and coming down deep to the inside, under braking, going into turn 7. Look at that move by Chad Osborne. I think that caught Russ Ruddick not sleeping, but definitely would have caught him by surprise. That was one heck of a move. Looking to see where Osborne is in our point standings currently. I believe he missed a couple rounds towards the beginning of the season, so a little bit further back in the order. But great move there. Wow. And you see he's just now just kind of walked away a little bit from Russ Ruddick here on the front straight. Brian Long from the Wrong Stuff, teammate of our GT3 AM leader. Long currently running 6th in pro. He's got Jackson Detmer just ahead. Now that would not be a battle for position in class. Detmer running in the number 77 BMW and is one of our AM category drivers. Detmer right now running 2nd in GT3 AM. Long making up a lot of ground under braking there, as it looks like Detmer had a little bit of an issue there, pushed wide coming out of turn number 2. gathers it back up, gets the power down. Now we know that the older Porsche chassis definitely had some issues here with front tire wear prior that we saw last season in the World Challenge, and I believe we had Dean Dibdahl run out of front tires in the Porsche with maybe 10 laps to go here. But so far, Brooks and Moraes and certainly Leo Dragata seem to be doing a real good job in managing the front tires on those Porsches, as we now have Travis Schwenke. He's got Robert Hartley moving down to the inside, and you know, maybe with 20 minutes left to go, Hartley, who had qualified third in pro, he scoots by, gets around his teammate Travis Schwenke, and it looks like I'm sure they probably had that planned out to a T when they came down into turn one, as all three of them are on radio comms together. And here's coming down into and deep on the brakes is the Porsche driver Dre Divock, coming up behind Brian Long. Divock currently running third in AM, and again Long running sixth in pro. And I'll tell you, Divock, he's not all that far behind the BMW of Jackson Detmer, who is next on the road. Detmer currently running second in AM. And I can tell you, Divock probably more than anything wants to be able to get around Brian Long and bring the fight to Detmer here as they come down into turn 7, working lap number 40, and just about exactly 15 minutes remaining. As we go back on board, it's been kind of lonely at the top of the field here since, I don't know, probably about 35-40 minutes into this race, as Bailey Petrowski now with almost a 20-second advantage over the rest of the GTP field. Ben Rose running second. Fernando Takahashi has worked his way all the way up into third. The Brazilian driver, and I know we've got a lot of fans here watching Mr. Takahashi, but Bailey Petrowski, he has put on a heck of a show tonight, looking again to take another win here in the World Challenge. And speaking of which, looking to see if Paulo Kui Grant has rejoined the action, and he has not, and looks like he may have checked out of the session. Looks like he has not gotten underway. And there you go. Marcel Bonk says, "Go Taka, go!" He's got a heck of a fan club here watching his races. And he's coming up onto the back of the triumvirate from Orion. That is Travis Schwenke, I believe, in the 16 machine, that he works his way clear. Actually, I take that back. That was Robert Hartley, who has now found himself, we saw Hartley get around Schwenke earlier, but Hartley now finds himself back in 5th position, and Leo Dragata has gotten around. Let's take a look, and I think we might have a replay of this. Let's see what happened to the number 3 machine. We see them all working together as they come out of turn 4, go into the chicane, and Robert Hartley taking a bunch of curbing, and thankfully a lot of runoff room there. Both the driver's left and driver's right does not impact the wall, but right at the beginning of the straightaway where you need to be full on throttle, he was at a dead stop. Oh, and he comes together. Hartley going down into turn number 7 with one of our GTP machines, and I think that's Kyle Stryker's. Indeed, it was the number 4 machine, and I don't think Hartley realized that Stryker's was making up the ground that quickly. Stryker's went to driver's right to try and go around the number 3 machine, and the slightest of touches there, and Stryker's was able to gather the machine back up, and same for the number 3, but that could have turned into to something Very, very bad there for Kyle Strikers, who's still trying to catch up to Takahashi, about 4 seconds behind at the moment. And so it has not been the best last half lap for the number 3 machine. And now we're watching, and we saw this fight a little earlier. Russ Ruddick and John Casey. And actually, I'm sorry, this is Russ Ruddick and Chad Osborne. And this would be a battle. This would be a battle for position. This would be the battle for 9th in GT3 AM. And he's got one of our Orion racers trying to put them a lap down. Go on board from the rear of the 24 machine, and Russ Ruddick making up a lot of ground under braking there. And he's going to run wide, coming through turn number 13, gets it back underway, and I think this is going to be the opportunity for the Orion gentleman to go through. Oh, and a little bit of a love tap there from Mr. Takahashi. As Takahashi might be starting to feel the heat just a little bit. The driver of the number 79 BMW is, we saw Kyle Strikers in that white 17 Cadillac in the view as well. And this is the section of the track where things do tighten up a little bit. Oh, look at that Osborne. He lets out of the throttle to let Takahashi go coming through the chicane. And that might, I don't want to say that that is going to be detrimental to his run, but we may see Russ Ruddick now start to close things up. And, well, not in a moment. It looks like Ruddick there in that green and white BMWs. He was dealing with some of the faster traffic as well, so Osborne seems to have escaped, at least for the moment. As we jump back, this is now the battle for 5th in GT3 AM. We've got Baron Glover in the number 13, the Wrong Stuff Porsche, directly behind Lucas Dragata in the number 119 Dragon Sport Porsche. About 3 car lengths separate them. There you go. Lucas flashing the headlights, thinking, well, you know, maybe I could get into the Baron's get in the Baron's mind, but it hasn't seemed to phase him in the least, at least not at this moment. You know, maybe as time starts winding down now, as we have 10 minutes remaining here at Indianapolis. Maybe he'll have to think about it a little bit more, but Baron getting a little defensive, coming through turn number 10, but this is where the track widens out, and let's see if Dragata will try to come down the inside under braking, going into turn number 12. He does. They're side by side, and as Glover gets a good run out of 12, he does have to push wide as the track kind of folds back on itself. Dragata, though, not able to do anything with it. He's going to have to follow Glover as Glover now tries to get the draft off of Ben Rose's prototype car, even if just for a moment, as they now come down under braking hard into turn number 1. And Glover's going to take the apex away. I think he's got a good advantage now over Lucas Dragata, almost a half a second. But I think, you know, as we were watching it, I think a great move, if Dragata were to do it again, is to try and come in underneath the Glover machine going into turn 12 as they come back off of the oval and that 90-degree turn over at turn 12. Because if he can push Glover wide, can push Glover drivers left in the run between turn 12 and 13, it will be very difficult for Glover to accelerate out of there. Now, the last time, unfortunately, Dragata didn't get a good run, and now he's going to try it from the outside and maybe try a bit of an over-under. But I think he really needs to be up very close alongside the Glover machine as they turn in for turn 13. in order to limit the entry or the exit speed from Glover going onto the oval and back onto this front straightaway. And so now Glover is going to be defensive. He's going to sit center of track. He could probably move over a little bit further to the left, but he doesn't know how far over Dragata is as they come through turn 1. And Dragata very careful going down into 1. Should add that probably the biggest elevation change on this racetrack is coming through turn 1, that it actually dips down about, I'd say, 2 feet and then rises back up as quickly as it dropped. As Dragata once again flashing the headlights, trying to get into the mind of Baron Glover as they make the run down to 7. And Glover again going to defend. He's going to stay to the inside, which is going to make it very difficult for him to carry speed through here. But it's so tight, Dragata just cannot get up alongside. Let's see what he does again as they come through turns 9 and 10 over that concrete patch, around the bend, and here at 11. And Dragata maybe a little bit further back than he needs to be. He's going to come down the inside, but I don't think Glover's going to have to worry. No, Glover with plenty of clearance to come right across the nose of the number 119 car. But as those two drivers continue to fight. Oh, and look at this, Baron Glover running wide. Glover in the number 79, the 13 machine, coming out of turn number 11 there. And let's take a look and see what happens as Dragata was pressuring him. Does he just run wide? He runs wide, that's it. And comes back across the track as he tries to recover. So that now moves the Dragata car up into 5th position in AM, and it's going to drop Baron Glover all the way down to 8th. It was such a great defense, and unfortunately there, when he had a little bit of clearance, and ended up going off track. As we jump now over to Michael Brooks, who's had it, I don't want to say he's had it easy, but he has 5 pro category cars between he and the next AM driver. He is your GT3 leader. And Michael Brooks, he is looking, I believe, for his 2nd win in a row. He took the win last 2 weeks ago over Dre Divock at Jerez. And the margin of victory then almost 25 seconds. And you take a look now, it's even bigger between he and Divock. It's almost a full minute, 52 seconds separating the 83 and the 12th. And here we go. Look at this battle for 3rd now. This is Takahashi and Kyle Strikers. Strikers is caught up to the number 79 machine as we've got 5 minutes remaining, and they've got a slower GTP car directly ahead, but they are side by side now with the rear end moving all over the place. Coming through turn 2, Takahashi moves back to the lead as they come through 3, set up through 4. Now they've got that quick chicane and onto the Holman straight. And as they come onto the straight, look at that, Takahashi opening up almost, I think, like about 6 car lengths over the number 17 machine of Strikers. And they're coming up, I believe that's Ryan Reisman in the 414, if I remember correctly, just ahead, who's having some brake lockup issues going into 10. We'll see how that affects him. That driver wisely pulls over and lets this battle for 3rd power through. And Strikers have done a very good job of making up almost 4.5 seconds from the last time we checked in with this battle. Time starting to run down, however, as again we've got under actually now just a touch over 3.5 minutes, and that will probably mean as these drivers are coming down across the stripe, probably 3 more laps. These lap times for the GTP cars right around 1:15. And 15 and 16 for these 2 racers. But look at this as they come up onto the back of some GT traffic. And now Strikers, he's trying to pin Takahashi in behind the Lamborghini. And wow, there you go. Jeff Jacobs, unfortunately, he is the recipient of that fight And we're going to have to see if our stewards are going to take any kind of action there, as it is getting wild now as they are coming down, I think, with Brian Long just ahead. And wow, big brake lock up from the 17 machine of Strikers as they go through the through the chicane. And, you know, so the gloves are off, the elbows are out now. And the GT3 drivers, you know, they just might be collateral damage here as these two racers are coming through turn number 12. And Takahashi works his way onto the front straight here. He's now moving over to get clear some of that GT3 traffic, and now late on the brakes is able to get right back up to the rear of the 79 is Kyle Strikers. But we'll see here, he lost a lot of momentum coming through this section right here, coming through turn 3, turn 4, and then across the quick little chicane, which, you know, it's a huge chicane for the NASCAR machines, not so much for these GTP cars. It's almost a straight line. They come up on the 78 machine of John Casey. Casey hangs that car out, let both of, or at least one of the prototype cars through. Strikers is going to have to follow Casey at least through turn 12, gets around on the run between 12 and 13. But Takahashi now with almost a 5-car length advantage, and there you go, multiple cars in turn 4 under review. We'll see what happens here, and if the stewards take any kind of action, that could be very detrimental to either Takahashi or Strikers. We'll see what happens. Now, as they are starting lap number 57, and we've got only 30 seconds left on the clock, and so as our leader, Bailey Petrowski, crosses the start-finish line, he's going to get the white flag. 1 lap to go, and that means probably 2 laps essentially for Takahashi and Strikers, as they had just now started lap number 57, and Petrowski on lap number 58. Ben Rose, he's in a very comfortable position, currently sitting second in GTP. And as things are winding down, Michael Brooks with a fairly comfortable lead over Dre Divock in the battle for GT3 AM. Iago Mores with a sizable advantage over Mike Dam in GT3 Pro. And although it looks like the battle in GT3 AM for third might be tightening up just a little bit, let's stick with this battle in GTP. As Bailey Petrowski now makes it through the final corners, he's going to come onto the front straight, and Bailey Petrowski, he's going to take the win tonight in GTP here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. Detmer, he's going to cross the line. He's the first of our GT3 AM drivers to take the checkered flag. He will finish third. He will hold off the charge of Jeff Jacobs, and what could have been for Jacobs if he hadn't had that incident with the 2 prototype cars there with a few laps to go. And now coming out of the final corners onto the front straight, Iago Mores is going to take the win in GT3 Pro. Taking the win in AM, Michael Brooks already crossed the finish line, and here we go. This is the battle for third in GTP, as Ben Rose has already taken home second, and Fernando Takahashi, he's going to finish third on track here in GTP. So it's Petrowski, Rose, Takahashi, with Strikers finishing in 4th. Ryan Reisman will finish 5th. And then Reeves, they are your last racers still running at the checker. In GT3 Pro, it's Iago Mores, your winner. Mike Dam finishing in second. Travis Schwenke will finish third. Leo Dragata got around Robert Hartley to finish fourth. Hartley finishing in fifth. And then finally in AM, it is Brooks, Divock, Jackson Detmer, and then Jeff Jacobs and Lucas Dragata. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick little break. Let's thank some of our partners and sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk to some of our podium finishers here at Indianapolis, where you've just seen round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Performa Elite and Buttkicker here on Apex TV, Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Allow Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where you've just seen the 75-minute run to the checkered flag of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Performa Elite and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and let's take a quick look again at our finishes here after 75 minutes, taking the win in GTP. Bailey Petrowski with Ben Rose finishing second. Fernando Takahashi, a hard fight there at the end with Kyle Strikers, but he holds off Strikers, and we did get a ruling from race control. No action taken on that incident with 2 laps to go at turn number 4. So Takahashi, he's going to hold on to that third place. In GT3 Pro, it's Iago Mores taking the win, with Mike Dam finishing in second. Travis Schwenke will take the third step on the podium. Leo Dragata finishes just off in fourth. And then finally in GT3, and Michael Brooks, our winner, our overall winner in GT3 for the wrong stuff. He comes home with the win, finishing second. Dre Divock, and then Jackson Detmer rounds out the podium with Lucas Dragata finishing in fourth. All right, we've got some drivers. They're lined up in the waiting room for me and me alone. Let's bring in now finishing, let's take a look here. Finishing second in GTP, driving for DNA Motorsports, the number 5 car, it's Ben Rose. Ben, congratulations on your second place finish. Ben, I think Ben's muted. Ben? It's like, can we unmute
I
Ben?
apologize.
No worries. No worries, Ben. Congratulations on your podium finish tonight. Tell us a little bit about your race.
Well, the start was a little bit interesting. Tires were quite cold in the brakes. I almost lost it. Turn 2, I worked so hard to ensure I didn't go off track, and I didn't hit any of the other drivers. Thankfully, I only lost 2 spots, and I just moved my way up.
Now, we saw you had a great little battle there for second with Palakui Grant for a while, and it looked like you had the measure of him. He got the position back, and then had an off. Tell us a little bit what that was like, because we know Grant last season ran so strong, took some wins, already took a win this season, and when you have to when you're in a tight battle like that for position in these GTP cars, especially when you've got this GT3 traffic all around you, and we know it became a very tight spot for you guys in turns 3 and 4. Tell us a little bit how you handled that.
Well, I went for the pass on turn 1. He didn't fight it too much, and we gave each other space. But then the GT3s coming out, I went on the outside of the Audi, and I'm unsure. I believe I gave him sufficient space, but I think he might have understeered a tad, and he tapped me on the side, and I went off track, and that's when Grant took the place back. Luckily, it wasn't any damage whatsoever when I hit it, which was good. And I didn't lose many spots whatsoever. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened to Grant, because I wanted to catch up and have a little battle with him.
Well, Grant had, we think he was trying to make his way into the pits, and had a very, tried to enter the pit lane with a very high rate of speed. As you know, here at Indianapolis, there's a very tight left turn once you get onto the pit lane, and it's a pretty difficult run there to get once you get straightened out onto the pit lane. But tell you what, Ben, again, congratulations. You got anybody you'd like to thank for your run tonight?
The boys, DNA boys back home, listening. Some of them are watching. My teammate, Ricmotech, he did a great job, and an amazing livery that he gave me with the America flag. So proudly enjoying the livery. So thank you. It was a fun race. I had a good time.
Well, great job tonight, and congratulations once again, Ben. Have a great evening.
Thank you, you as well.
All right, there you go. Ben Rose, driver of the number 4 DNA Motorsports GTP Cadillac. And I think that is the highest we've seen a Cadillac finish yet in the 2 race weekends so far, or the 2 races so far. Now let's move over to our GTP winner, and taking a win multiple weeks in a row now, Bailey Petrowski from Petro West Motorsports. Congratulations on your win tonight, Bailey.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about how things unfolded. It was obviously very hectic at the beginning of this race. You were on cold tires, and we saw that the Palakui was very aggressive going down into turn 1 for the very first time. Did you have any kind of, what was your thought process there as he took the lead from the beginning? Were you just willing to kind of sit back and wait it out, or what was your thought process?
Yeah, so, well, coming into this race, I was, with how my setup is, I was just worried about making sure I made it to the first lap because of how loose my setup is on cold tires, and I did somewhat expect to lose it. I wasn't expecting him to take it around the outside like he did. It was a pretty good move from him.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to take it easy. I wanted to survive. I think I almost lost it in turn 2, and then turn 4, the rear kicked out of me, so I was just being as cautious as I possibly could. And then I knew my setup was good once the tires got warmed up, so I was just waiting for Grant to make a mistake, which he eventually did.
Yeah, and from there, I don't want to say it was smooth sailing, because as we saw here on the broadcast, I mean, there were some places on this track where you had to exercise a lot of not caution but patience, I think, in trying to work through some of the GT3 traffic. Now, at what point did you think, well, now I can not necessarily lay back, but I can again be a little more patient with the traffic and try to work clear, look for openings that perhaps you didn't feel as big a challenge from behind?
I think the entire race, that was pretty much my mindset. Like, in terms of tracks, I feel like it's very similar to Road Atlanta, where you lose a lot of time to traffic throughout the race, and if you get behind a car in the wrong section, you just accept that you lose time. And when I was watching the standings, their relative standings to where I was to other cars, it gave and took. I would be up 5 seconds, and I'd lose that, and then I'd gain that in 1 or 2 laps. So I don't know. I feel like I was very cautious the entire race, at least as cautious as I could be.
As you could be.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So tell us here, and of course, another win for you here in the books. And you came into the evening, I believe you were tied at 74 points with Palakui Grant. So this is going to give you sole command of the championship. Tell us if you've got anybody you'd like to thank.
I'd like to thank my dad for continuing to support me for all of these races and the rest of my family and friends. And thank you for all the sponsors that make this series make it happen. And thank you for commentating on this race. And yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody, that is Bailey Petrowski, your winner and your new championship leader in GTP, driving for Petro West. And thanks again, Bailey. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on now to our GT3 AM winner for driving for the wrong stuff, the number 83 machine. It's Michael Brooks. Whoops, 1 second here. There we go. There's Michael. Congratulations on your win tonight, Michael.
Ew! Thank you. That was a fun race.
Yeah, it looked like you were under a lot of pressure, not from the GT3 AM drivers, but you put yourself in a great position in qualifying right up towards the very front of the entire GT3 field, and had a spectacular start to clear those pro drivers. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, a little bit of an awkward start. Dropped down a couple places and just a matter of fighting it. I started off with a full tank, hoping to go the full 10 miles, right? And it worked out. I did a lot of practice leading up to the race to try to keep consistent after my tires are worn down. So that really paid off. I felt like I was able to stay consistent for most laps in that first stint. Because I knew after that first stint, it was going to be quite a bit easier. Once I get on new tires, lower gas, I could put in some faster laps and keep up. So it all avoided a lot of incidents, and it paid off.
Yeah, it got very hectic. Yeah, and absolutely paid off for you. And and I think we've said it before. It's not often that we see our AM category drivers beating the pro field, but you bested 5 of them to be our top finishing GT3 machine here. And did you tell me about this? That your mindset once the green flag comes out and you clear those drivers in the opening laps, are you still considering them to be competition? Are you actively trying to defend against some of those drivers? And are you planning you mentioned about trying to go the max distance on fuel? Are you strategizing against them, or are you strategizing against the AM drivers that are 6 and 7 cars back from you?
Definitely a little bit of both. Strategizing with the pros helps me keep that distance if I manage to keep ahead of the AM drivers. Some of the previous races just weren't my strong tracks. Here I just put in a lot of practice. So the idea was to keep up with the pro drivers. I didn't expect to come out with an overall win, but if I stayed in slipstream, tried to conserve some fuel, save my tires, it would help spread that distance between me and the other AM field. And then as the race progresses, I gauge my speed against the other pro drivers to see if it's worth going for those extra points. In this case, definitely was. Just kept pushing it to the end.
Very good. All right. So, Michael, anybody you'd like to thank tonight for your win?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my family for tuning in. Thank you to the team for helping with all the practice sessions. Thanks to the sponsors, Bruzy, WC91 Liveries, UbiSafe, SimMotion. Thanks, everyone.
All right there, everybody. That is Michael Brooks from The Wrong Stuff Racing, driver of the number 83 Porsche. Congratulations once again, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, let's now move over to Michael's teammate, also driving for The Wrong Stuff and driving in the number 9 Porsche 911, your winner in GT3 Pro. It's Iago Mores. Hey, Iago, congratulations on your win.
Thanks. I don't expect the win.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a very strong fight, much like your teammate, Michael. You had a very hectic start, but you did very well to work yourself to the front of the pro field.
Yeah, Mike made a brilliant job, but I have problem on my tires. The rest of the race, so the second place overall.
Yeah, so the problems with your tires, were they just at the beginning of the race when that they were cold, or was it, in the middle, maybe in the middle of the race before you took your pit stop, or was it just a problem with the setup the entire evening?
The setup, the tires is aggressive, disgusting.
Yeah. So it was a difficult drive for you, but I guess you had some advantages. One, you knew that you had Michael Brooks there ahead with you, that you didn't necessarily have to fight with him, but also, behind you, Mike Dam, as well as Travis. Actually, all three of the Orion racers had issues throughout the evening, and gave you a pretty large advantage there, right?
Yeah, the Porsche had absolutely lovely driving in the circuit. So this is the result of this.
Yeah, and it was an excellent result for you. And Iago, so tell me this, last season you were driving the Lamborghini, and now you drive the Porsche. Which one is easier for you?
For me, the Porsche is 100% easy than the Lamborghini.
Yeah, I would imagine that even though they are both with the engines in the rear, everybody that I've talked to has had more problems with their setups and being able to keep the rear end of the car behind them. So, and it's obviously it worked out very well for you tonight. Is there anybody you'd like to thank for your win?
I have to thank you first to my girlfriend, to my team, to my family, to everybody on the Apex Racing TV. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, there you go, everybody. From The Wrong Stuff Racing, your winner in GT3 Pro. For The Wrong Stuff, it is Iago Mores. Thanks so much, Iago, and congratulations on your win. All right, so let's do this. Let's start wrapping things up here tonight. And apparently the lights did not come back on in Michigan. I wish I wish all the best to my partner Larry Lefty McLeod. He should be rejoining us here next weekend, or not next week, but next week, when we have the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup. And the Touring Car Cup is going to be heading to my home track, my favorite track in the world, Summit Point Raceway, where we're going to have rounds 6 and 7. Going to have two 30-minute races to the checkered flag. That's next Monday night, July 3rd at 8 p.m., if only so that you can hear the joy in my voice about calling a race from Summit Point. Come join us. Then in 2 weeks, Monday night, July 10th, we're going to have round number 5 of the World Challenge. As I mentioned, we're going to be heading to the Ardennes Forest and to Spa-Francorchamps for 75 minutes of GT3 and GTP. Actually, I might also add that Touring Car Cup, that's for our Mazda MX-5s and GR86 cars. And then come August 21st, we're going to have the return of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Those are our TCR and GT4 cars. All right, so for myself, and for, thankfully, Lee Thompson keeping things together for me here behind the scenes with Apex Racing TV. I want to thank you all very much, and we'll see you next Monday night from Summit Point, West Virginia. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.